Hazel Scott, a sensational pianist who jazzed up the classics and became famous.
The queen of cafe society.
Hollywood called, and TV made her the first black performer with her own TV series. But despite her riches and fame, as an early civil rights activist, Hazel Scott was simply erased from American memory.
Political blacklisting.
Don't miss The Disappearance of Miss Scott on American Masters.
Tune in February 27th at 11 p.m. on WTJX-TV Channel 12.
Good morning. This is meteorologist Russ Murley with your WTJX local forecast. This is Thursday, the 26th of February. Sunshine, partly sunny at times. Look for isolated showers. Middle to upper 80s this afternoon. Easterly winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour. It'll be partly cloudy with isolated showers tonight. Nighttime lows 74 to 78. Tomorrow, it's partly sunny. There's a continued risk of showers, middle to upper 80s. Isolated showers, middle to upper 70s tomorrow night. And partly sunny with isolated showers, middle to upper 80s expected as we look forward to Saturday. Listen and watch WTJX Live and explore your favorite radio and TV shows all the time. Download the WTJX app at the App Store or Google Play.
WTJX 93.1 Charlotte Amalia, your NPR station in the Virgin Islands. The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here at Analyze This. I want to thank Alvaro Willis for joining me. I want to talk some San Antonio Spurs and also talk some local politics. So let's transition now. We've got the incoming head of school. That's the name of the title, right? Find the microphone in for the man. Coming in. Good morning, gentlemen. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bill Sinfield. I'm the interim head of Good Hope Country Day School.
And there we go. And sir?
Ali Morgan, incoming head of school for Good Hope Country Day School.
Okay, good thing. So Simpson, break down the situation. Why you leaving us?
I am. We spoke last year. I think you might remember, and I was called in. There was a sudden resignation of the head of school, and they called me. I was retired. They called me to come in for a couple of years and help with a number of things, but also be part of the search for a new head of school, somebody who would, be a good fit and would, bring, I think, cultural knowledge to the job as well. And we're so very fortunate that Ali came, and we're just very excited about the fact that, number one, he's a native son of St. Croix. He's a graduate of the Good Hope School. He's had great experience up in the Northeast at Rye Country Day and a number of other places as well. Rye Country Day being one of the finest schools in the nation. But to come back home and to take over the role of head of school is just something exciting for all of us.
Talk about the process without giving away the insider abilities of Good Hope Country Day School to pick up Ali Morgan to come in to fill the void.
Well, first of all, I think there was a number of people who contacted him and who knew him from Country Day or from Good Hope, and also knew him from Rye. And I think he probably got a few phone calls to say, "Hey, apply for this." I didn't know that. And then we started the search a year ago, I think, and we went through a search consultant, Carney Sandow, and brought in, we had, I think, about 12 Zoom interviews, and then brought in 3 of the candidates to the island and had an interview with them live, and they got to meet any number of the different constituents, whether it was the students, the teachers, the parents, obviously the board of trustees, And from there, we just knew that our candidate, that Ollie was the best candidate, and we offered him the position, and thank goodness he took it.
Mr. Morgan, good morning. Glad to meet you.
Likewise.
Give us some background.
So as was mentioned, I am a proud native son. It really starts with my grandfather, was born on the island pretty soon after it became part of the United States, and so
Grandfather got a name?
Alexander Knight.
Okay.
And he raised his family here, and then moved them to New York, and then was always back and forth.
So he part of the New York migration?
Say it again.
Part of the New York migration? Virgin Islands?
Absolutely. Early 50s.
Okay.
And so my mom was born here, and but grew up there, and I'm the reverse. Me and I have an older brother, so born there but raised here, and so this is home in every way, and so it our family history here is deep, and keeping that going is important to us, and so that's I'm back, and it's really like I never left, but in terms of being here every day.
You born in New York and raised up here?
You got it.
What part of New York you born?
Bronx.
Boogie Down?
Boogie down.
What part of the Bronx? Concourse?
No, man. Well, when I was born, it was like Mashula Parkway, but then Baychester.
Baychester?
Yep, that's
Okay.
where I grew up.
Okay, good. I born in New York and raised up here. Too,
Okay, so we got that in common already. Good.
Good thing. Alexander Knight, you said?
Yes.
Frederickstead, Christiansted?
Frederickstead, also Westman.
Westman. I mean, on the night out of Frederickstead. I don't like them out of Christiansted.
Oh. When he start, maybe then he go west and stay west.
Gosh. When you, and by the way, I want to let me know, we got the current head of school, Bill Sinfeld. That's the pronounce it that way, right?
That's correct.
And we got an incoming head of schools. He's going to be starting, I think, July 1 is the effective date.
That's right, but they keeping me busy already.
Well, you ain't working for right now?
No,
You done with right?
you're never done. Because you get calls.
Yeah.
And honestly, recruit and retain a lot of employees there. So once I mentor someone, I'm with them for life. So
Okay.
that connection is real.
Where is right? This is right in New York. You're talking?
Correct.
It's Westchester County.
Correct.
All them golf courses.
Yeah,
and all
in the
that
middle
stuff.
of all of that. Yeah.
Mamaroneck and
You know your thing, man.
that's where the Rangers. That's where they training camp thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. This is awesome. You graduated from Good Hope School what year?
1993.
So you been in school with Zeno Bain before Zeno leave?
Zeno is my classmate, man.
That's what you're telling me. Yeah.
And we have to connect up north, and then we now back home together.
Yeah, I met Zeno sitting right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Zeno Bain.
He didn't tell me that.
Zeno's a guest, a regular guest, EPA master, and Zeno said when Hurricane, he was in 9th grade when Hugo hit 89-90.
Right.
And
He left us.
he left after that year because the man used to have to ride from the rainforest and the bike to school.
Yeah.
And then he went to Florida.
Yeah, we missed him, man. Big time.
Made his mark there, went to MIT and all that stuff.
Excellent.
So that's it. So you graduated in 93. That's the year Tim Duncan graduated.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Rashidi from St. Joseph.
All those guys.
Right?
Yeah, he blocked all my shots. All of them.
And then you went to what university?
Southern Methodist University.
With SMU?
SMU, man.
Dallas? Okay. Yeah, Mustang.
Yeah, man.
I hope you know that when you're talking.
I see that already. Next level with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
So
yep.
I enjoy that. Okay, good. And then graduated from SMU.
Yes.
And what you do after that? Went to Masters?
I went back to New York.
Okay.
And my original intention was to work as a teacher, an arts teacher. That's one of many things I bring to the table.
What'd you major in?
Theater arts.
Okay.
And that came from Good Hope.
Okay.
As you know, Good Hope and Country Day have had a long, strong tradition of the arts. We used to perform at Island Center. We support, once we build the facility at Good Hope, I was a big part of that.
Pavilion.
Yeah,
it was a pavilion first or no?
And then they have a center.
It was a seat. When you been in first grade, 81, 82, when I graduate, my year, it was an open area.
You know.
And then you keep building
Yep,
and
building,
now
building.
it became a real building.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. So we were part of that.
Okay, good.
And so from there, that arts took me to college.
So you've been educating since 97?
Yes.
Wow. Mr. Sinfeld, this was an easy selection, or the other 11 were just as impressive?
There were some very impressive candidates. Both the Zoom and the the people who came on island. But I would say for me, it was an easy decision. There was some great candidates, but Ollie ticked all the boxes as far as I was concerned. And I know that, again, he's worked under some incredible leaders, and that was a really important thing. He talked about mentoring. He had the privilege of being mentored by some great leaders. But I really believe that, for me, the fact that he had that kind of independent school experience, and that he was coming home, and he was bringing not only his experience and his knowledge from independent schools, but bringing it back to a place that he understands and that he loves. And I think that was essential. It's very difficult, whether it's leadership or whether it's teachers. If people aren't from the island, they're often either the individual or the spouse is, wants to leave after 2 or 3 years, and that's difficult to continue to maintain. Again, not only with leadership but with teachers as well, with faculty. So. That he has roots here, and those roots are really important to this community, to the school community. And so for me, it was kind of easy. I'm sorry if any of the other candidates might be listening. I don't think they will be, but for me, it was a pretty easy choice.
What's the biggest needs, Mr. Sinfeld, for Good Hope Country School right now? I know the merger, economics was the main reason for the merger.
Right.
We were dealing with the fact that the biggest supporter, the refinery, shuttered in 2012, and then ultimately the impact required the merger in what, 2015, somewhere around it, 2014?
2013.
2013. And so now that we've gone a decade plus with that, what's the biggest needs right now for Good Hope Country Day School? I know we had yesterday some brilliant students here. They got a fair coming up, the STEM fair coming up
That's
next
correct,
week.
yeah.
And I was impressed with of course, Miss Jaffers. She's the upper division. Vedant Mittal and Kennedy James.
Great kids.
And they said that they're just 2 of 26 brilliant children. And I'm looking forward to meeting some of them next week as well.
Good.
So what's the biggest needs?
Well, first of all, I think
for private schools in general.
The biggest need is always going to be enrollment. Private schools, not only here but throughout the United States, the cost of tuition is making it somewhat prohibitive for middle-class folks to find their way there. And so, and certainly that's exacerbated here on the island, where the cost of living is so high. So, the enrollment is always going to be something that's an issue. We've been really fortunate over the last year and 2 years that we saw an increase in enrollment, and we're very excited about what we see so far this year in terms of applications, acceptances, and inquiries. We're in a good place, and I'm glad for Ollie that we're in a good place, because you don't want to walk into a place where you budget for a certain number of students and you fall far short of that. Mm-hmm. That's a bad place to be. So enrollment's always going to be our focus, or my focus. Obviously, the focus of the faculty and the administration is to do the best possible job of educating our children, and I have no doubt that that's happening. Oh, well, I see it every day happening. But so that's an economic issue when you're talking about enrollment. The other issues, I think, are always going to be, and we talked about this last year, finding great teachers. And that's true, again, across the country, that more and more people are making the decision not to go into teaching. And so we want to find local teachers, obviously, again, people who are attached to this community, but we want to find the best possible teachers. And so that's going to be a problem for a while to come until that settles down. We talked about this last year. It's not just about the money. It's not about the money. And you don't go into teaching to get rich. But, the pressures that are put upon teachers these days are immense. and I'm just being frank, there's a lack of respect for our teachers, all of our teachers, whether it's public or private. There's a lack of initiative. They're not given the opportunity to take initiatives, and I think that's one of the strengths of independent schools is teachers have the ability to take initiative and create programs that they love, and politics gets in the way of that. Government gets in the way of that, and so that's a challenge moving forward.
No, I was talking with my godfather yesterday, Mr. Morgan, and he was referencing a family member. I'm not going to call the name because I'm going to talk about salaries now, and I don't really want to expose that. However, it's hard to compete on the Virgin Islands with the mainland, right? And he was referencing a family member, and as a teacher in the Bronx, she was making $104,000 a year as a teacher. Now she's an assistant principal. She's making $151,000 a month.
Did you need to say that on air?
I had to say because we want to encourage people to get into education,
right?
From the standpoint that compensation can be, I want to use the right word, appropriate and justified, because educators are undercompensated.
Correct.
I just want to put it on the record, right?
Yeah.
And we want, and Morgan Freeman said, we underpay educators, overpay politicians. Maybe we should do the reverse, and then we'd be better off.
Let's do a trial run. We can at least try it.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Mr. Sinfeld spoke about the realities, right? Where you don't just want teachers for the sake of having teachers. You want teachers because they are going to educate our young people, and the process will work. Your take on that?
Definitely something I'm aware of. Definitely something I've studied and have contributed to in terms of, like Bill said previously, no matter where you are, really in the country, even beyond that, education is really struggling. I think it had some of this going into the COVID pandemic and then coming out for sure, where, the next generation, if you will, and you always get some career changers. We're questioning, their heart. They love the kids. Our best teachers love the kids. I love the kids. But then they were like, how do I survive? How do I thrive? And so that's something we had to really look at. But I think thinking about the experience here on the Virgin Islands, and specifically with Good Hope Country Day or any independent school, I think we got to be creative. I'm a creative person at heart. I think, again, our best educators have that in them. I have this extra piece of the arts as an example. But what I mean is that you got to be honest with people, as Bill has been, and I will continue to be. You got to really get to know them and understand their needs, their family, their passion for it, and then try to really emphasize and build on what are the things we can offer you, and can we sustain it, right? I think it's interesting that Bill brought up enrollment, and then also the teacher or the educator side of recruitment and retention, because they're connected, right? We have capacity at Good Hope Country Day School for more families, more students, and more families, and that can only help us, right, in terms of what we want to do. But we also want to be realistic about when you're on the Virgin Islands. I heard it earlier. There's some things about the VI you can't get anywhere else in the world. You can't get anywhere else in the country, and I'm not just talking about the weather, right? And so, again, I agree with Bill that ultimately our market is local for a good reason. I do have a very strong network in the Northeast, but I would really say nationally when it comes to educators and just being a part of that ecosystem. And so I'm going to do everything I can to continue to build on what's strong, and tell the good news of the school. But while I'm doing that, I'm telling the good news of the Virgin Islands. Honestly, I might have to come back because I got some ideas, but I got to get in the seat first. But it's important to me. We
got a call, and then we're gonna take a break. Come back and take the call, and then I'm gonna ask you if you're gonna be yanking up a storm the whole time while you're the head of school, or you're gonna talk the local twang.
Whatever you need, brother.
As well. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
We could do that.
Okay, good. We'll take a break. Be back with the incoming and outgoing head of school, respectively, Ali Morgan and Bill Seinfeld, and the caller. Be back right after this. And we're back here to analyze this, and we've got the leadership at the Good Hope Country Day School, the current head of school, Mr. Bill Sinfeld. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
And the incoming head of school from out of the West, Ali Morgan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Carla, good morning, Carla. Good morning, Carla. Carla. Good morning. Okay, we'll figure that out. So exactly what's going on now? Talk about the transition now. You're wrapping up your year at Ray. How long you been at Ray?
So, to clarify, it has been continuous, but my official tenure as a senior administrator went from 2013 to 2024.
Oh, okay.
Since then, I've been an educational consultant. Rye was was my first client, and I've worked with a number of schools in the area, in the what we call Fairchester. You know this, but it's Fairfield County, Connecticut, which includes Greenwich and Stanford, and then Westchester.
Right over the state line.
You got it. And then Westchester County, but I'm connected to the city schools as well, but really regionally and nationally. So in the consultancy, I get to do a lot of trainings, professional development, coaching. I started developing some conferences with some partners, a little bit of everything, but I've stayed connected to
So
Rye.
since June of 2024, you've been in the consulting business?
Correct.
Okay. You were at Rye for what, 11 years?
Yes.
Prior to that?
Higher education.
Okay.
So I was at a conference maybe almost a year ago, and I started hearing this term pre-K to gray. You hear it? Have you heard it?
No. Educate me. Educate me.
Okay. I got educated because I heard them explaining or sharing about an educator whose work expands the youngest children to graduate school, and they're talking and saying it over and over, and then I realized they're talking about me. So earlier I had mentioned trained in the arts. My intention was to work at LaGuardia in New York City, the famed school. And while I was waiting to get called for that, I was on the waiting list, if you will. They gave me a couple offers other schools, but I really wanted to be there because that's what I was trained to do. I took a job at the new school in higher education, and then my higher ed career took off. Worked my way up through administration. I became a financial aid expert. I did a big ERP project for CUNY. Worked at different.
What you know about City University?
A lot. My graduate degree is from Baruch College.
We know about CUNY, man.
A lot.
And I just
I know. I
like to ask people that question.
I'm the product of CUNY. My parents.
I enjoy asking.
You
people,
like that? You like that?
I said, well, you know about that.
Oh, you know about
That's a smile.
Quite a bit. I wouldn't be here without CUNY in the sense that my parents met at BMCC back in the day.
Right here, on this show, I found out that CUNY is 25 institutions strong, probably even more.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
yes.
I know Medgar Evers and Hunter, and we got, I don't know if it's Mr. Sinfield or this. Sinfellows, I pronounce it correctly? Sinfield, right? Sinfield. That we have 2 CUNY institution presidents that are connected to the Virgin Islands.
Is that right?
Yeah. Miss Rada.
Is York College got to be one of them?
That's it. Miss Rada, she's at York, but she was at Kingsborough. I think it was the one in Brooklyn.
That's right.
And Mr. Monroe, Anthony Monroe.
Okay.
His kids live here. Your check. So yeah. So we go for that. I think we get a caller line up. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Neville. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Morning.
Okay, listen, this thing about teacher salary. I've been teaching since 1969. I'm still teaching. And this is what I found out. Okay? Before World War II, single women stayed home and take care of their parents. Single women did not go out to work. Okay? When World War II came, the men who were teachers went to war and they were replaced by women, mostly single women. Single women were not major wage earners. When the war was over, the men came back because of the GI Bill. They went to school, became doctors, lawyers, and Indian chief and whatever. But the women stayed in the school, and they were not primary wage earners, so the salaries were never boosted up. Okay? Single women didn't really go to work until the 1960s. When I came home from my first leave from the Navy in 1960, the girls who were single women now had compact cars and living in apartments, were not staying home and taking care of their parents. But the primary thing is because the women were not primary wage earners when they replaced the men after World War II, the salaries were never boosted up. Do you understand that?
I understand the dichotomy of what you're talking about there, but I wanted to give me Mr. Morgan some advice. You've been an educator. He's been an educator. What advice you got for him repatriating? He coming back. He coming back home to provide leadership from an administrative standpoint. I'd go to country to school. So give him some advice on quality.
Okay. Well, no matter what level you're at in education, your relationship with the teachers has to do with classroom control. And I learned this from a little German woman. The first day of school, you get your student list, and it's in alphabetical order. Change that alphabetical order to numbers, like whoever A is number 1, whoever Z number 26. And you put that number on everything you give that child, in their book, on their ruler, every piece of paper you give them, who's number 1, circle it up in the left-hand corner with a red pen, number 1. And if you see that piece of paper in the playground or in the hallway or on the side of the road, you know who student number 1 is. Okay? Classroom control has to be done sort of like, not like I hate to say the word prison, but each student should have a number.
Hold on there. Classroom control ain't a teacher thing. We talking to administrator now. So talk about that connection there.
The administrator got to deal with the teachers.
Yeah.
The administrator is dealing with the teachers. If the teachers don't have classroom control, the administrators got to put classroom control on them. And I know a lot of teachers starting out don't know anything about classroom control. No. Here's what I want to rephrase that. Go ahead.
If classroom control is established, what should be the relationship between the administrator and the teacher?
The teacher, the administrator, oversight. They're watching what the teacher's doing. And it ain't what they're saying, it's what they're doing. And what they're doing is a product that their students will show at the end of the market period.
Well,
but that classroom control is primary. If that classroom teacher doesn't have control, and it's up to the administrators to make sure. What's
secondary after classroom control?
What's secondary?
Yeah. What would be the next priority after classroom control?
That's primary. What after that is parent communication.
There you go.
Because if the child not performing, then you got to go home with it. Then now this thing about team teaching, as far as was introduced in special ed, team teaching need to be throughout, not just special ed classes throughout. Yes.
And finally, what about extracurricular stuff? In other words, it can't just be about academia. You want them to be a well-rounded student. What would be the third suggestion before I let you go?
Well, you got to have a music program, a phys ed program, and I'll just say with those two right there, because those two are hard enough to institute, and poor old St. John. But we've known that VI administrator is top heavy. They got more people making big money as administrators and not supporting the teachers financially where it need to be.
Well, thank you very much for the contribution, and don't forget this is a private school we're dealing with here this morning. This ain't a public school, so when we go the public school route, you can come back in and blaze how you want with the government.
Private school, just tell them parents to dig deeper and tell them sponsors to dig deeper.
Thank you for that.
Thanks a lot, Uncle Eddie, for all that
you.
saying, John. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
I see you shaking your head in agreement with what Eddie Bruce was offering with the parent involvement.
Yes,
suggestion.
Parent. I say parent and guardian because it's really a village, and although many of our parents, whether it's one or two, are there and present, sometimes it's an auntie or grandmother, someone else in the family. But parent engagement is key because, and again, any educational institution, this is true, but in an independent school environment, one of the things you often will see is full investment because it's a financial piece to it. That's not the only reason, but these are parents who typically, do their homework. They may or may not have benefited from an independent school education. That's not a requirement at all, but they are, want what's best for the child. And all parents want that. And so what do you see? You see parents who are keeping up, reading up on everything, the trends in education. They have a direct, access to the teacher and the school. I think the way I view, my vision or the way I envision working with them is getting to know them really well, engaging them, giving them some topics, that are of interest to them and of interest to us, and we come together and talk about it. If there's a concern, we are proactive about that. So those types of things. But I think parent presence is key. And you'll see them, all the time. And I know Good Hope Country Day School is a school that very much appreciates our parents, and they're very involved and give back and things like that. So I'm ready for the parents in terms of supporting them and getting to know them so that we can support the children.
Mr. Sinfield, what do you believe is your primary role in making sure that the transition is as seamless as possible?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I recognize that there's a few soft spots that we have to deal with and make sure that, and one of them was enrollment, that Ollie walks into a place that's healthy. I think it's always difficult for teachers to adjust to change. There's nervousness, trepidation when a new leader comes in. I think having Ollie come, we had him actually at Christmas during the holidays for the alumni brunch. That was a fantastic thing.
Awesome. That's so much fun.
That was the largest show out we had for an alumni brunch. It was not only, people came out to see Ollie, but also it was a former teacher. It was dedicated to Roger Summerhays, who had passed away last year, and he was a much beloved teacher, so people were coming back for that. But what I really liked about that, and I'm going a little off topic, but what I really liked about that is there was a surge of Good Hope school alumni that came, and that's a new thing. Certainly, we have a number of Good Hope alumni who have come back, but because we're on what was the Country Day campus, people didn't feel it was home, and we just said, you're part of our family, and so this is home, and you're always welcome. And I was just delighted to see that. But part of the transition is assuring teachers that everything's going to be fine. And having him here over the next few days is really important. When we leave here, we're going to go back to the school, and he's going to sit in on classes. He's going to talk to administrators. He's going to have an opportunity to talk to students. People need to get to know him so that when he's in that chair, they're not going to feel any sense of surprise. He's going to be coming back in May as well for a week, I think, isn't it a week?
That's right. You got it. You got it.
I don't even know why I'm still there, quite frankly.
No.
Here
We
all
got
the time. But so that's part of the transition. And, just getting people to understand his philosophy, his role, how he sees his role, I think that's the important thing.
Who owns the Good Hope property?
The Good Hope Board of Trustees. They're not part of Good Hope Country Day School.
That's a separate.
That's a separate.
That's
501.
That's Mr. What's his name up there for the insurance company? John Harper and all them. That's a part of that.
No, John's not part of it.
Not part of
John has always been a part of the. At first, he was the St. Croix Country Day board member, and then he's on the Good Hope Country Day. He was never
Ricky Evangelista.
He's no longer on our board. I don't know. If
No?
okay. Honestly, I don't know who's on that board.
Because that is valuable property, Ali Morgan. I mean, for you, it's personal property, personal valuable property, because that's where you matriculated, right? But the C grip down there, them down there by the arches. I mean,
grew up on them C grip, man.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? I went down there on a recon mission in 2019 because we had it turned out to be a failed attempt to revive the refinery, and they wanted to know what they could do to reopen the school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that one fell through. And then I heard about some other initiatives to try to bring back that area, because that's prime.
It is.
I mean, when you got children going to school on beachfront property, at the time when I was going to St. Dunstan's, I really didn't have any idea how good I had it down there. You know what I'm saying?
Special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it like growing up as a Falcon, hating Tigers, and now you actually are the umbrella. You're the one that's responsible for the Falcons and the Tigers, man.
The question has finally come.
Somebody got to ask.
Oh my good! How much time I got on this?
Blue and yellow versus orange and
white,
white,
and now we black.
No,
black and gold.
black and
so it's an excellent question, and I think I'm well equipped to answer, because I definitely, the best rival, there's admiration and respect.
No, but the rivalry with Good Hope and Country Day was a personal.
Oh yeah, it's deep, man.
That's like
I got stories for days.
That's like Eudora Ken and Charles Damali High School.
Come on now.
Yeah, man.
It's like that.
Yeah.
And so that passion, and there was so much in common, right? The arts programs are very strong. Athletics were comparable, depending on the sport. I know in my era, we couldn't beat them boys in basketball, which we lose by 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 2 point, 1 point. And I see these guys now. I greet them, but I didn't want to greet them because, Herschel got me every time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, it is something deep. Earlier I appreciate you talking about the campus, because the campus was beautiful, and every Country Day has over the years, and now we're together, and it's emotional. It's deep. Your memories. Some of us. I came in 7th grade. Some from pre-K all the way through, right? And many of us, when you come home, it's tradition. Whatever school, but definitely Country Day and definitely Good Hope, you go to campus. Even if no one's there, you walk to campus. I would do that, and just all the memories come back. And so when that was, sadly, not possible, that we still had years where we didn't know what was going to happen. I understand there's been some closure to that recently, so we got to figure that out. But I think years have passed. But what I would love to offer and introduce to all of the people, but definitely the Falcons, is the idea that not only are we one school, but if you come see us, and I'm there, I'm going to be there to greet you, we can catch up. We can talk about the memories. There are Falcons represented throughout the school, through the families, Do we have second and third? At least second, maybe third generation kids.
Yeah, man. We'll take a break on that note, Kelly. And then when we come back, you can pick up the discussion there as well. Good Up Country Day School in the house, the leadership, Mr. Sinfield.
You got it.
And Mr. Morgan, outgoing and ingoing, respectively, head of school. Be back right after this.
Thank you.
And we're back here, and it's this nice discussion with the outgoing and incoming heads of school, respectively, Mr. Benson Field and Mr. Ali Morgan out of the West, joining us this morning. So you were talking about, I sense a sense of alumni and our alumnus sentiment for the schools.
Yes, and so it's been some time, as Bill has alluded to. We've been over a decade now. And we were just talking a little bit and touching base about the fact that...
But you got this baby face, even though you got a gray beard and all that stuff, your face still look 20-ish, 30-ish.
Thank you.
I thought you were talking to me when you said that.
That's the island on me, man. That's the island on me, man.
You talking like you got 30 years in this thing.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? I do. You ain't look like it at all.
That's what the VI can do. I gonna walk around and show these people what it is, man. You gotta swim.
The gray kind of give you away, you know what I mean?
That's okay. I'm proud of it, man.
Yeah.
We about half a century now.
Mm-hmm.
So
what you want? What you want? Come June or May, June 2027, after year one, what would you have wanted to accomplish in that first impression, that first blush that you're trying to reestablish yourself in the community?
Yes. It's the last word you said, community. Strong, thriving, joyful, more connected. We're already connected. Obviously, it's the first year. So the first year, anything, but particularly in education, has to have, or in my humble opinion, the goal is we know each other. We're in this together. I will literally have time with every group on the campus, the kids for sure, all day, every day, the employees, the faculty and staff, but the parents, the guardians, the alums. We want people on campus. That to me is when you come to the island, you should come to the campus. That's the way we see it. So by the time we get to May and June, first of all, the year would have flown by. Bill knows what I mean, because when you're in this seat, it's busy all the time. Right. You're thinking about it. I'm already thinking. Technically, I started in November when they chose me, and I graciously said yes. We've been working. I've actually heard from a lot.
You wanted the gig when they call you and say, "Yo, it's you.
It's me."
What was that like? That
big smile, man.
Personally,
big smile. You see it now? Big smile.
Where were you at that time?
Where was I at? I was probably at home. Pick up the phone because I work from home primarily, unless when I go out to the school. Yeah. And I got the call from Brad, and he was so enthusiastic. My goodness, Brad he couldn't keep it in. And I gave it right back to him, and he said, "Let's do this, man." I said, "Let's go." Now you got contract stuff. Yeah. So I'm going to be here a while. Yeah. They want me, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
So with Iowa ready for him to take over immediately if he wanted to, or you had a contractual.
I have a contract that goes to the obviously the end, and I want to see that through.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I'm going back to the porch swing when I retire again.
In New Mexico?
No, I was in New Mexico, but we bought a home in North Carolina, but we're going to put that on sale and move closer to my daughter and grandkids in Arkansas. But, I love kids. I love kids. And so one of the reasons that I was excited about, coming back is because I missed working with young people. And I missed working with the teaching professionals who are so very dedicated to this craft, and so I want to see that through.
Let me ask this question: how do you administrate in this cell phone era when
that's a good question.
Parents? Well, you're on a good show.
Well said.
I like to do that all the time. It's just a teasing thing.
It's good. It's good.
No, I'm just being honest. I like to have fun with that. When we were in school, right? Cell phones was a pipe dream, right? And we performed, and we excelled. We learned. Some of us were not great students, like myself. I wasn't a great student, but I was fortunate to have great retention. Some of us have good retention skills, right? So I was bad when it comes to discipline and all that stuff, right? But children lost without cell phones. Parents not comfortable if the child don't have a cell phone for them to get in contact with. Yet you got to legislate and reconcile the fact that you don't want them to be overly dependent on the device. So explain how you balancing that in this modern day educator whisponsibility and role.
Probably one of the most difficult things for teachers to navigate. But we have a policy at the school. It's they come in the morning, they go to their advisory, which we used to call homeroom, and they drop off their phones. They don't have their phones throughout the day. At the end of the day, they go back and get their phones from their advisors.
Okay.
And one of the most wonderful things
it's
about
still in effect right now, that policy?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. They instituted that, I think, 2 years ago. And it was a brave move because, again, there was lots of pushback, not only from the kids, and you've seen how kids react when you take away their phone. Some of them have tantrums. I don't know that happened, but the parents also, because it's, I want to be able to contact. Well, what did we used to do? You called the school, somebody went to the class and got the child, right? And what's an emergency? I mean, did you bring your lunch? It's not an emergency, right?
Right.
So what I found, and I was at a school in Albuquerque where the kids couldn't have their phones. They had to put them in each class, but they could take them around with them. Ours can't here. And what I saw when they went to the cafeteria, for example, in Albuquerque at Sandia Prep, a great school, was that they were still on their phones. They're sitting around a big table, eating lunch together, all of them on their phones. You're not having a conversation. You're not playing cards like we might have done back in the day. And so when I walk around at lunchtime here at Good Hope Country Day School or at snack time or when they're outside, they're talking to each other.
Man.
It's a beautiful thing, right? But the other issue too is, and we're a one-to-one school, which means every student is given a laptop, and they can work in their laptop, but they can't communicate outside of that. So I think it's a fantastic policy. I'm glad that they brought it back, or brought it to the school.
That's a Board of Trustees decision?
Well, it was suggested by the administration, and really, it's not a Board of Trustees decision. That's because that's day-to-day operations of the school.
A school policy.
That has to be a school policy.
What's your take on that, Ali?
I support the approach. I've seen it, again, in other places, certainly in the Northeast, and at Rye Country Day. I was one of the last things I contributed to directly before sunsetting there was they're about to implement the program around the same time. Also brave, also met with a lot of feedback, and all kinds of feedback. It pretty much echoing what Bill said, and we found and continue to find great success with this. Right, like there's still some who are a little bit of kicking and screaming, but the school day should be sacred, from 7:30 to 3:30 or even later for extracurricular, and it's one of those you can thank me later. And all we're doing is protecting the joy and the engagement and all the things that happen in school that's worked for a long time. I think the studies are starting to show it's a longer term thing. The challenges with social media in general and what it does to young people, particularly growing up in that, all the time. Right. So we owe it to them to give them a break from it, but really for the learning and the brain to really be focused on what's in front of them, I think is good, and we'll continue that. And we'll answer the questions. If there are concerns, we'll address them, but I think it's good. It's good for the kids.
I'd add to that too, that, one of the things we saw, and there's still residue from the COVID era,
right,
where kids were at home and their social skills, were compromised.
Right.
And not having cell phones gives them an opportunity to relearn so many of those social skills that, they lost sitting at home by themselves.
Right.
And so, again, this is the time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, even like playing games, right? That means it's a generational thing, of course, but we remember all kinds of games. We created the game, right? Mm-hmm. So I think by us having a policy like this, it allows students to develop that. We can help them too. There's some things we can do programmatically, and our wonderful teachers will help us with that for sure. But it's good. All ages too, certainly, we don't want cell phones with the youngest, but all ages.
Enrollment right now is on?
275. 274, excuse me. It'll be 275.
And you start at what level? And
we start at pre-K.
Pre-K.
Yeah, and we are.
How many classes per grade?
Well, when you're in the lower school, from grade 1, pre-K, up to grade 6, there's one class.
One class.
And then as they get into middle school, there are advisories, but because of the schedule, one advisory, might. 27 kids, 28 kids will be divided into maybe 2 or 3 classes. 2 or 3, sorry.
Okay,
2 or 3 different courses.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a big change from when we were going to school back then. You know what I'm saying? And of course, cost is a big issue.
Right.
275 students.
Right.
Pre-K to 12.
Right.
That means the car's expensive, man. In order for you to meet your obligations. Wow. Because I had St. Mary's School in here, they're struggling. The enrollment is 30 students or something like that to St. Joseph. I mean, just rough, man. St. Patrick's, St. Dunstan's don't exist no more. And Good Up Country Day is now 1. That's a far cry from what it was when we were growing up.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
We have half of the number of school children that we did a decade ago.
I was here. Have you heard about the kids count yet? You read the documentation?
Kids
count.
No, that's the foundation publishes that.
Okay.
Right?
I'll look into it.
No, I'll let you know.
Thank
so
you.
Look at all the data.
I will.
Right?
I will.
And,
but I do keep up.
Reach out with Deanna James and that whole crew.
Okay.
Right?
Will do.
And they got all the information there.
Good.
So,
good.
I was doing some basic math with them. Our population in the Virgin Islands was 106,000. It's now 87,000, right? So I said, okay, we lost 20,000, rounding it off. And they said, of the 20,000, no, here's what they said. Of the current population, we have 17,000 less children than we did pre last decade, which is Hess,
Yep.
refinery,
Yep.
hurricanes,
Yep.
early part of the pandemic, right? So I doing the math, and I told them just on the raw numbers, if we've lost 20,000 in population and we got 17,000 less children, just on its face, 85% of that 20,000 is children. So they were trying to, find a way to say, well, it ain't really like that. I said, I'm just talking the raw data. You check? That's a problem.
It is.
Head of schools.
Yeah, it is, but it's all economy of scale too. You can't be afraid of being smaller. You can't be afraid of being smaller.
I like that.
You have to adjust to it. There's no question about it. I went to the school.
However, though, it ain't about fear of being smaller. It's about a tax base, an economic base that existed with 106,000 people.
Right.
And if you lose 20,000 of your population, your tax base is being impacted. The dollar circulation and that economy of scale you're talking about is impacted.
Right. Well, absolutely it is. And then you have to.
Smaller should means an increase in qualitative, just in theory, but you still need the revenue, the quantitative, to allow for the qualitative to exist.
Right. Yeah. I agree. But I think that I'm going to just say this out loud. This school, Good Hope Country Day School, is so very important to this island. With a lot of the parochial schools that are struggling right now.
Yes.
And again, there's less of alternative options for somebody who says, I want something different for my child than the public schools. And again, that's no knock on the public schools. I'm a product of a public school.
As a parochial school child, you need options.
Yeah.
It can't just be the government providing everything.
Right. And that's true everywhere.
That's everywhere, yeah.
So that's why I think it's really important. This school is so important to the island.
So you're not being
because
a homer. I just want you to know that you're not being a homer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no, I'm serious. No.
So, you have to adjust. You have to adjust. Everybody had to adjust after the 2009 crash because people were losing. Independent schools were losing kids left, right, and center. The pandemic, obviously, it's exacerbated here on the island with hurricanes. When I came,
we actually did good with the pandemic, though. We were lucky.
Yeah, I know you were. I was on island when it was announced.
Yeah,
I was visiting on island.
We benefited big time with the pandemic. Yeah. Not a lot of people could say that. We with other ports closing and islands not taking anybody, and we benefited from that. As you know, great conversations. Time to fly fast. Give me some closing remarks, Mr. Incoming Head of School.
So, two thoughts. One is, I so appreciate all of your questions. One of them, as I answered it, I realized I was remiss not to mention my mom, Nurse Morgan, who was on the island as a school nurse for a number of years and retired. Henderson, Charles H. Complex. That's the source of who I am and what I'm all about. It's really a call back to our community, and our community is not just the people who are connected to it, but the Falcons we talked about earlier, they're welcome. Please come back. The Tigers, of course, and then the Panthers, which is who we are and what we're going to be. Please come on back. We'd love to see you. We'll be there to greet you and listen to you, hear your conversations and things like that. But we're excited. We got momentum, and we're going to build on it. Right, Bill?
Right on.
Mr. Sinfield, good to see you again.
It's wonderful to see you. Thank you, Senator.
Ms. Jaffa's excited about you being the principal.
Oh, man, that means a lot. That means a lot. Hope to be back. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And I know to take a break till tomorrow morning. Talk to you at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking music, local music tomorrow. Talk to you then.
Thanks.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.